Howdys and salutations, y'all, and welcome back. Okay, good. We are live to another drawing of Miquella. Well, really, the same. Is it even the same drawing of Miquella anymore at this point? I feel like it probably doesn't count. But regardless, we're gonna keep on chipping away at this Miquella of Theseus, and one way or the other, we'll get it done. I do feel like we're once again in a considerably better position than we were just several iterations ago. So we're going to keep on moving. What I've done, before we look at the notes from last time, before we look at too much else, I want to make sure that we're still online with our original proportions and design sketch here. Because that's an issue we've had of late, is getting sort of off track with that when we get too far into it, and then you lose some of the pose, some of the drama, things like wonky, all that jazz. So, what we're looking at here is this current refined sketch that we've been working on. You may remember last time we shifted the arm. Well, we had an arm and then we tossed it. Similar-ish for the face. We wanted to tweak some stuff. But yeah, and underneath it we've got the original sketch here, just the pose and everything in proportions. So I may do some tweaks with the waist and stuff to make that work. In the meantime, Ivan02, how are you doing? Is it 2 a.m. where you're at? Mate, you gotta stay asleep. That's I should know. I am as much as I may sound chipper, it's more of sleepy, delusion at this point. I've been way too tired. Thank you. Yeah, no, we're still working away at it. We'll get Miquella done one of these days. Let's see. Yeah, I figure we might be on just a slightly too large a brush at the moment. That Jeepers Southern Twang really came out with that one. Word. Okay, and then just to make sure we're on the same shade of gray, because I think we've shifted a little darker. There we go. There we go. Getting the brush settings all sorted out. Nice and normal. Thank you, yeah. It's Jeepers, it's taken a long way to get here, but I think we finally got the composition into a place that's not garbage. So I'm excited. I do want to think through, though. Because the underlying pose, I still feel has a little more hit to it. Maybe that's just because it's loose and flowy in its own right. So of course it's going to have a little more punch. But I'd love to be able to retain a little bit more of that in the final. So I'm trying to think... I don't know if they feel too distant, because we've got the waistband a little higher. Not absurdly higher, but a little bit higher. Probably go a tad down on that. Or we could leave it as is. It's really not bad where it's at. Just need to alter this arm a little bit to match. Easy enough to do. And then, yeah, I looked up some references for the fabric, for the flowing of the fabric, but honestly, those loose doodles we did right at the end last time are pretty in line with the references that I found. They're working, so we may not mess with that too much. I'll mess with it here. Yeah. No, by all means, I get it. If you just slowly doze off, I will be happy to be your I don't know, nighttime meditations, I suppose. I don't know that you can actually get much better at art by sleeping to advice of it, but sleeping in general is probably going to help. Okay, let's see. Other thing I want to look at here. Ah, that's that. Okay. That answers that question. Because the head on this looks like it lines up fine. It looks like it's looking at us. It looks perfectly reasonable. When we add the sketch layer, suddenly the head looks way too far forward. Kind of like a shaggy pose. Thank you. Yeah, it's should be a fun one. It took a lot to get the angle right, but I'm happy with how this one's looking. Let's see. Yeah, I suppose we're not really using this reference anymore. We can go back to the face one here in a minute. But, right, shoulder. Well, that's really the crux of it, isn't it? It's that my brain's interpreting this as a shoulder. Or, no, it's, it's that it's not interpreting as a shoulder. It sort of feels like the other shoulder should be like back there somewhere, and the face should be here. But that's not what we actually want with this underlying sketch. Because with the undersketch, you can see that the shoulder's actually over here. And visible still, ever so slightly. So let's, yeah, okay, this stage we sort of lost it. Actually, yeah, we lost it a lot with that stage. So let's try to go back to that a little bit. Off some of these lines a little bit, get that pose right, and then that should really make this all pop. A little too scratchy there, we can. Those fit together a little better, mayhaps. There we go. Don't want to get too much pen lag. Okay. Is that the collar should actually be something like that. A little larger than that, probably. We'll see the other arm double back on itself in a minute, which will help. That at least puts the head in slightly more correct. Ah! Yeah, so I'm trying to do an actual like character from Elden Ring. It's not no C this time around. Let me see if I can pull up an example of the weapon on it, because it's an interesting one. I believe it's called the Eclipse Shotel, so I don't remember, I think it's got a little bit weatheredness to it, but for the most part it's not necessarily shiny, it's just kind of a worn metal weapon. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if I can get this on full screen. No, it's just no idea what this website is, but basically the idea is that it's got, whoops, it looks like an eclipse, and you've got the rays of the sun being hidden behind the moon as, like, built into the metalwork of this. It's a neat concept. I really like how it is in the game, and so I'm hoping that I can capture the feel of it. That's sort of why I've not done the outer edge yet, is it's going to be wildly complicated. I've been trying to practice like reflective metal a little bit so that I can get the right sheen for it. We'll see how it is by the time we get there, because it's we're gonna have to get the boundaries on it first. Yeah, it's a neat weapon, and it's, as with everything Elden Ring, buried in like mountains upon mountains of lore that are borderline inscrutable. Like, who knows? A lot of stuff buried in there. So it's kind of a fun puzzle. Leaves it open to some interpretation, which is, in my opinion, quite fun. Okay. In any case, we're going to have a hand here. And it needs to be not that big. Looking at proportions and looking at foreshortening, it's not going to be all that big. It needs to not... Yeah, okay, that'll do. I'm gonna go all the way down this time. Okay, let's see if practicing art has, with arms, has actually paid off in any way. Hopefully. I need a mirror for it, though. Ah! Yeah, I'm gonna go for a fairly shadowy background. I may do, like, go for some, like, for the most part, just, like, big, ominous strokes, and we'll get some, like, gradient stuff going in here. Not with those exact ones, but mostly heavy shadow, with, like, a single pinpoint light source, so that way it'll have really high contrast for this mostly white outfit and the glint on the shotel. And we might have, like, just the edge of the silhouette of another figure in there. Wouldn't be too much for that one, though. It's supposed to mostly be about Miquella here. I'm excited for that part. I don't think we'll get into too much complexity with it, but we'll see. For now, I'm trying to get right now, really, just by the end of the month, I'm trying to get the figure, like, all of the line work and everything for the figure, and start getting, like, base colors in. Because next month is Sword Timber, and I'm going to be a little tied up in all that art. But if I can get it to that point with the flats and everything, then it'll be really easy to pick up where I left off. So it's just sort of a race against the clock with streams. Because I've only got a few more left this month. Schedule has been bonkers of late. gone and made the brush a little big. There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, let's try with this then. Something like that, mayhaps. I get a little of the shoulder arcing behind it, not too much though. Keep that simple enough. Yeah, it's definitely... Well, I think it's like anything. Like, almost anything. It's fun when you've got the passion, but if you want to get anywhere with it, you kind of have to be routine about it, which means doing it even when you don't feel the passion at all. And streaming especially, because it's kind of a time commitment. It's real easy to have those days where you're just like, I don't want to be doing this. But it's, you know, I have found long-term that it's been much better. Like, used to, back before I had, like, a day job, doing art was easy because I could just do it whenever I felt like it. I had plenty of time. But now, if I want to do art, I gotta set aside time for it. And, streaming basically helps me, or forces me to do it, because otherwise, if I'm only beholden to myself, I mean, I'm just going to have days where I'm like, oh, I'm tired, and I'm going to make the executive choice to not bother doing art today. And then eventually that just kind of becomes every day. But if I'm streaming, I'm like, no, I told a bunch of people, technically, I've posted publicly, I will be doing art today. So unless there's something real serious, I'm going to go do art today. Still a pain, though, on those off days. But I usually don't regret it. Heck, today's one of those days where I considered canceling stream. We may still do a short stream yet. I have been playing ever so slightly far too much Baldur's Gate, and the result is that my sleep schedule is completely ruined right now. I'm like barely functional. So my main goal today, besides streaming, is to go to bed immediately after streaming. Hopefully that will help right-size things a little bit. But I knew that if I didn't stream, I would get distracted like browsing YouTube and probably go to bed late again, so having to force myself to stream has actually been kind of nice on that front. I can tell the angle if it's wrong. I just need to figure out in what way. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not... If the time comes up where I need to take a pause, 100% I will, and I do. Sometimes I'll just, like, either do a Stardew stream so I don't have to do too much thinking, and those are usually short, or I'll just, you know, if I need to, I'll cancel it. Definitely. You know, this isn't a job. I'm literally not... I'm not getting paid for this. I have no obligation to. It's supposed to be a thing that's enjoyable for me and for anyone who drops by. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm not going to crush myself doing this. If anything, the streaming is actually... I have found I end up doing better when I stream, like, when it's a rough spot. Because otherwise, if I don't stream, I just, like... Look, if I'm tired enough, I'm just like, I'll cancel. I'm like, I feel bad, I can't do it today. I'll send a note, we've got the Discord for that, that's all good and dandy. But on days where I'm just feeling kind of ugh, and I need to get myself back going... Not doing a stream usually ends with the day still feeling ugh, but when I do a stream, it kind of gets me to wake up, snap back to things a little bit. Just a bit. Not every time, you know. It's not like a magical cure-all. But, it's just been a long day at work, and I'm feeling meh. Sometimes a stream's a good solution. Oh, I think the twist of the arm is too far to the left. That's what it is. So instead of looking like it's being held up or to the chest, it looks like it's being held, like, kind of at the waist. Okay, okay. Let's see what I can do about that. See. Let me see. Ah, okay. Even from there, I think the arm's actually going to end up looking more like... I'll do it reversed because I'm seeing it in a mirror for my own reference, but... The big elbow gets emphasized at this. We've got the taper there, a little bit of taper there. Up and over. Okay, we'll tilt the angle on it upwards a little bit, but at least that gets us sort of the forms to work with. So let's do some tweaks on here. Mix it up. Appreciate you thinking about me with making sure I don't burn myself out. Yeah, if you... Oh, hey, Galactic. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, feel free to chuck him back at camp and grab anything you need out of the inventory. By all means. Like, yeah, feel free to continue on your adventure. If you want to keep him around, go for it. Or, like, feel free to continue with the other NPCs. Happy to collab again sometime too, but I figured like this week, unfortunately, work has been kind of crazy, so I didn't have the same opportunity to. But thanks for asking. Yeah, no, whatever you want to do. Used to stream, still do time to time, because currently working on my physical state. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely... You don't want it to take over your life or anything like that. But it is, I don't know. Streaming has generally helped me with keeping a little structure to my free time. Okay, so we had our reference. I'm gonna angle it a little more. Let's think about where we want the hand to end up. Roughly there. And Galactic, good luck on the stream. Hope it goes well today. Let's see. But yeah, no, you definitely got to take care of your physical state too. Yeah, you gotta just... Fortunately, that stuff's always a little slow. Getting things sorted back out again. But it's worth taking the time to do it right. Okay, let's do that. Mark it in. And that arm is too small, but it's also at wildly the wrong angle. What on earth did I do? Yeah, but Ivan, I hope you can get back to it soon. Like, it always stinks when you can't do stuff. Cars versus bikes. Ooh. Okay, weird answer. I've always been a tricycle person myself. Mainly because where I live, it's not like it's an actual choice for getting around. Our weather is too dreadful and our city's way too spread out. So bicycles are just not a viable option around here. Like, it's just mandatory cars, unfortunately. I wish there were other options. I'd honestly prefer to be able to use a bike or something else to get around. But as it is, cars are the only transit option, so bikes are more of a, like, either a fitness choice some people do, or just a hobby. Yeah, no, it is. Let's see. Based on your time zone, I'm guessing you're probably more familiar with Celsius, so we're topping like 40 degrees right now, Celsius-wise, even a little above that, 42, 43 probably at this point. It's been real bad this summer. and we keep it pretty high up there, at least in like the upper 20s into 30s through like October. So the weather here is not great for being outside. It's unfortunate. Our winters are very lovely for the most part, and like fall and spring are nice while they're here, but our summers are bad and they're long, and it's just the way of it. Yeah, what I'd give to live somewhere that was a little more, I don't know, not this. Oh, you got 60. Man, I am jealous of that, mate. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. In Fahrenheit, we're in triple digits, so it's bad. It's bad all around. I got a chance to visit somewhere last month, Seattle, which is not anywhere near where I live. And they were chilling. It was so lovely, and I was just like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Oh man. But there's still plenty of good stuff around here that's like, you know, you may not stick around here for the climate, but you got interesting people, you got interesting opportunities and all that jazz, so I'm probably not bailing in the near future. Although, I definitely need to travel more in the summer, because yeesh. It's a mess. It's so bad that we're starting to see articles about, like, studies on the impact of long-term heat exposure to, like, mental health. And it almost feels like the results are similar to, like, the seasonal depression some places get in winter. I think it hits us in summer, because it's just so bad. But, you know, we'll get through it. Mainly because air conditioning down here is a given. There are no things here that don't have air conditioning. You just have to. They don't even bother listing it on, like, apartments and such. Or condos or buildings or whatever. It's not even in the list because it's just assumed. You can't build something here without it. Ooh, yeah, that's not great. We usually don't hit that in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Well, no, I guess we hit below 0 Celsius a little bit. Some years, not most years, but some years. We don't handle it well. Yeah. Oh. Well, then feel free, Galactic, if you want to play Sifamir, or, like, I'm sorry you're kind of stuck with the hanger-on for that. Yeah, no, by all means. Keep Sif around. Let Sif go nuts. I'll admit, this is why I'm so tired, is I've been spending so much time in Baldur's Gate. In my single player, I'm still in Act 1, and I'm over 50 hours into the darn game. It might be too big. At least for my sanity. Then again, that's what I said about Elden Ring, and I ultimately finished that one too. What am I doing to this poor arm? Shorts and a t-shirt in winter. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do around here. It ain't bad at all most of the time. When we do get below 0, though, we don't get lovely snow. It's just ice, like immediate ice. There's no powder, no frost. It's just ice. Okay. I know the arc of the arm will be something more like that, generally speaking. Kind of too. Be able to see part of that edge, not too much of it, but part of it. I'll have the long taper, but it's too much smaller. Just scratch this out until we get to something that works. Oh, really? Yeah, it definitely feels cold, at least to me, when it's like that, but I do still prefer it. It's such a lovely break. It's nice. We're like, yes, please. Even if we have to wear a jacket because we're not used to it, 100% down. Yeah. The Sub-Zero C over here is still like... Oh yeah, I don't know how to convert like Celsius to Fahrenheit in my head once we're below 0. I can only do so much with that, unfortunately, but I know 32 Fahrenheit is 0, and we can hit like 20s. So that's probably like a 5 or 10 degree, probably not 10 below. We can definitely get to like 5C below, I'd say, probably 7. Nothing absurd though. Yeah, definitely the hands. Yeah, they come back to fight you. And I find it, for me at least, it's helpful to have something over, like just a mask over my mouth and nose. My sinuses don't know what to do with cold weather. They're just like, what is this? What is this new and strange alien temperature? Okay, hold on. What is going on with... I don't know why this arm is fighting me so much. One tarnation. Oh, the perspective on that was Garbo for starters. This is arcing too far out. Oh! Oh, duh. Yeah, that part's under the sleeve. The whole rest of it needs to be shifted over. Still don't think that's at all right, but it's better. And if we can troubleshoot one problem at a time, eventually we won't have any left. That said, I do need to do a little cleanup on this. And remember that perspective is coming into play in a way that it hasn't in a few of my recent pieces, so I need to refresh. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm so ready for cooler weather. We're right in the thick of it right now. Our August is one of our worst months most of the time. I always wondered why Julius and Caesar and Julius and Augustus Caesar would choose these 2 months to give their names, but I suppose the weather isn't nearly so atrocious in Italy. They did still totally mess up the counting though. But so much is. Oh, you've gotten some nasty warm weather too? Where'd you run into that? Or do y'all just get, like, pretty bold swings where you're at? Oh, yep, yeah, no, Spain can definitely hit those highs as well. Yeah, that's a big mix up over there. Can't really say up there. I guess that's a I don't know where that is relative to where I'm at. I'm stuck over in Texas, so like way far off. Very different climates. But yeah. Oh yeah, no, England winter. Yeesh. Yeah, I don't envy that. Might be fun to pop over for a visit, but I'm not sure I want to stick through it the whole time. Ugh, it's man. Miss traveling. I was able to do some study abroads back in college days. Thank you, scholarships. And so I got to go over to Europe and actually, like, you know, enjoy weather that wasn't absolute trash in the summer. And see some cool things. It was really lovely. Yeah. Yep, that's exactly it. Flip the seasons, but over here it's exactly the same way. I have barely left the house in weeks. Like, honestly, I'm not sure COVID lockdowns were considerably worse than just being here in summer in terms of how little I actually got out. I need to go do more. I need to get back on my, like, fitness routine and stuff a bit, but when it's not this bad out, I like to go, you know, exercise in the parks and stuff, and, like, go jogging and what have you, but right now it feels like more of a safety hazard to do that. This isn't improving my health at all. Yep. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, that I definitely believe. Food over here is such a grab bag. Yeah. American food is just as bad as the stereotypes, but it's balanced out by the fact that because we're, you know, at least we're not necessarily doing a great job of it right now, but we're supposed to be a country that brings in people of all different cultures, means that we've got at least food options from all over the place. Far more than you have local American stuff. That said, I don't know that I've had much, like, actual Spanish food. We have lots of Mexican food over here, but that's obviously very culturally different, and preparation's going to be different. And then even in Texas, we've got Tex-Mex, which is a whole separate thing from traditional Mexican food, as it sort of shifts and evolves over time and distance. Oh, man. Man, I need to expand my palate again. It's been a little while. Ah, okay, Yamon. I'm gonna have to write that one down then. Check it out. Let's see. I've tried lots of, I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, Italian food and German food and all of that sorts, but I haven't tried Spain so much. Ooh, pork. Ooh, okay. Okay, I'm down. Gonna have to give that one a go. Come on, arm. Yeah. Yeah, you know, to be fair, I'm not unhappy about where I live either. There's just I think everywhere there's always going to be stuff that's lovely and stuff that stinks, and there's just kind of a balancing act with all of it. Trying to improve where you can and not backslide where you can avoid it. Because the US is, well, partly we're just so big that we've got a little bit of everything good and bad. But it gets complicated sometimes. I'm sure not considerably worse than anywhere else, truthfully. We're just... Whenever we have problems, we're very loud about it. We don't hide our embarrassments. But yeah, absolutely. You should come over here sometime. I mean, as with most countries, I don't think it's something that can easily be done in one go. It's our history may be short, but our like space is big. What's the old quote? It's that like, oh, Americans think 100 years is a long time, and Europeans think that 100 kilometers is a long way. Whereas over here, people are willing to like, oh yeah, Germany's wonderful. Driving over there's fun too. The Autobahn absolutely lives up to the hype in my opinion. But yeah, no, definitely. There's a ton of different stuff to do over here. Depends on where you want to go. We got, well, every big city's kind of different. Texas, obviously, it's its own adventures. Roughly, the context thing that always gets me is, like, everything over here is super new. Like, if something makes it 100 years, it genuinely is, like, a relic over here. Especially where I'm at. I mean, my city's, like, let's see. Are we even 200 years old yet? I don't think so. No, we're not. We're not at all. Like, we're super new. And all the stuff around us is new. But yeah. And as a Texan, I'm obligated because, you know, we inexplicably pride ourselves on how big our state is. It's kind of fun. It's a fun novelty. Oh yeah, I mean Texas. Yeah, our state fairs are an adventure. We got lots of options, but honestly, like Texas is so big, that could have been anywhere in the state. You can drive for like 12 hours here and still be in Texas. It's actually slightly larger than France. We're too big sometimes for getting around, but it's lovely. Oh yeah, Texas barbecue's solid though. Yeah, it's pretty good. We got good options. You'll find that a lot of the stuff in Texas tends to be more like beef and cow based as opposed to pork. Just because we got a lot of cattle ranching out here still, even these days. Not necessarily all. Well, actually, there are still plenty of people who wear cowboy hats and the spurs and stuff, but some of them it's more of a fashion statement at this point. Although, depending on where you go, you'll run into real cowboys. But, you know, the food's still real good, though. And the cities are still proper urban cities. You're not gonna, for the most part, you're not gonna find something from a Wild West film. Although there's some places that it's more like historical sites. But there's still like Wild West reenactments and such, and famous duels and all that jazz. But yeah, no. We got good food options over here. Good barbecue, good hamburgers, that sort of thing. And then just a slew of everything else, because, you know, Texas for a long time has been a point of immigration from all over the world, really. And people bring their food and their cultures, and it's wonderful. So we've got a million options. Tons of different things. You'll never be wanting for food. Although, my favorite's travel story. So I did one of the study abroads I did in Weimar, Germany, which is a little town, maybe like 60,000 people. But they have a restaurant there called Texas that's done all up in like a classic Texas, like, oh, it was wonderful. It was so funny. But it was also like, hey, it did feel like home, even for its cheesy over-the-topness, because Texas is a state of cheesy over-the-topness. We lean into it. Yeah, Cali and New York for pizza. Texas has lots of barbecue options. Canada Christmas would be fun. Yeah, no, those would all be wonderful. Although, good luck getting to California and New York in the same trip. Like, that's like a 5-hour flight. Or a 3-day drive, at least. So, we got fun stuff, but we're maybe a little spread out. just a hair. But yeah, no, it's a fun place to visit. Just, I mean, Europe's great too, and getting over there, oh man. Getting to go to, let's see, I've been to, well, it's not the best. I've been to London and Edinburgh. Not that those aren't the best cities, but it's just like, I feel like there's so much more to see still. Like, I've only been a couple of places, I need to get more. Ah, man. Definitely. Especially because I studied medieval history in college. Like, I'm by training a historian. And, like, oh, like, there's not a lot of medieval history over here. Suffice it to say. There's lots of native history from that area, which is also fascinating and very cool. But if you want to study, like, feudal politics and stuff, it's a little distant. Ninja Kawasaki H2R, a few minutes to get to places. Hey man, if you can pull it off, but yeah, no. I used to, not even kidding, the drive to visit my grandmother was 14 hours. Uh, Always worth it. She lived up in Colorado, so lovely weather, very different from down here in the state of feeling like everything's on fire. But I think this needs more, like, depth on the edge. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, well, to be fair, my grandmother, like, retired in the mountains, like, a long way from us, so... But yeah, no, we were just a hair spread out. Nice, though. There's plenty of stuff where it's nice to have a little space. Our drive maybe 3, though. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a big road trip in its own right. My other grandparents lived about 2 hours away. But, yeah, no. There's a reason that, like, the old Route 66 out here used to be a tourist thing, is because if you wanted to get from one end of the country to the other, you were going to be driving a long time, and people were more than happy to have some interesting places to stop. There's, like, a whole road trip subculture over here, because it's a commitment. It is an adventure. It's good, though. Like, because we're so dependent on cars, we have pretty good road infrastructure. So, driving's pretty nice out here. I do wish we had better train options, though, especially around Texas. Our cargo trains are great. Our passenger trains are, not so good. Maybe we'll get there someday, though. What am I doing with these? These are knuckles. They shouldn't be, like, driving all the way down the hand like that. At most, we're gonna have, like, some... That's only 3 fingers. What am I doing? Oh, I mean, yeah. Japan's gonna be a tough one to rival. Yeah, we've got cities with, like, millions of people that straight up have no underground. No metro at all. It's just a few streetcars and buses. Maybe some surface trains, if you're lucky. And then we have other cities, like, don't get me wrong, there's other parts of the US that have amazing underground systems. The New York one is famously complicated and messy, but it exists and it's reliable. I know Boston has a really good one. I think some of the West Coast ones have pretty solid options too. Seattle. Yeah, Japan, though, they are on top of it. They have that down to a science. That's another place I need to go visit sometime. Ah, so many places to see. The world's wonderfully big, but at times frustratingly big. Still not satisfied with this hand pose. We'll get there, though. I'm gonna, like, chill on this a little bit. I might have this one connect a little lower. Oh, holy cow. Woo, that is a lot. That is nothing to sniff at. Every couple years around here, Texas talks about like building, like they're saying we're gonna build like a hyperspeed train, not hyperspeed like from Star Trek, but like, you know, one of those, like a truly like a bullet train, just to get from like Dallas to Houston, just across the state, so that it'll cut that down to like a 3-hour train ride. But I don't think even that one's planned. A 603, yeah, I don't think we'd be able to hold a candle to that. Holy cow, man! Oh, that's so cool. Man, that's so cool. That's like... that's almost unimaginable speed. That is so awesome. Man, modern tech, it's so cool. Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Nice curved top. Okay. Right, and then I have to remember the face will be longer than it initially appears. Not crazy longer, still a child, but longer. I'll have to be careful with the neck, though. But it doesn't look nearly so slouchy as it did originally. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some refinement in the hands, but at least the pose I think is fine, and the arm size I think is reasonable there. I mean, I guess it depends on how quickly they accelerate you. As long as they don't do it, like, too fast, getting you up to speed, then I feel it could be pretty cozy. Because I hear the channel from like London to Paris. I think that's where the endpoints are, at the very least from the UK to France. I hear that one gets up to some pretty absurd speeds too, but it's like a really smooth ride and you don't even notice. I'd be curious. I wonder if you can notice it, if like you can feel that at all. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's getting up some pretty crazy speed in its own right. Hmm. Okay, we'll figure out exactly which charm that is some other time, but we'll at least pencil it in for now. Have the option going there. Okay. He thinks that's pretty good for that arm. Okay, I don't think we tackled the face tonight. My brain ain't in a good place. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, magnets are stinking modern miracles. They're super cool. Not even modern, they're ancient natural miracles. It's just a wonderful part of physics, and I love that they exist. They're quite a lot of fun. They're definitely one of those things that, like, as a kid feels like magic, and then as an adult, kinda still feels like magic. Just like, oh, right, that's just an actual force that exists. Cool. Put that out of the way for now. We can always bring it back if we need. Yeah. Oh man. I remember studying physics back in the day, I was gonna say, you know, like freshman year of college and high school and such. I used to really enjoy it, but eventually the math behind it got just a little too much for me to keep up with. Which is a shame, because I'm kind of fond of math. I like it. But it's tough. That'll do for that. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah. It's just, you see that stuff, you're like, oh cool, calculus is here. Oh no, integrals, uh-oh. Although I did find calculus to make more sense than algebra, but calculus also kind of needs algebra, so that only got me so far. Still, physics is a lot of fun. I used to be like a teaching assistant, and I would get to help teach like middle schoolers physics. Those were fun times. Definitely not the same level of complexity, though. More testing gravity and inertia and things like that without so much of the math that's behind it. Ah, yeah, of course. I mean, it's probably like, what, 3 in the morning over there now? Like, yeah, mate, you definitely gotta sleep. You gotta have a little energy for tomorrow. It's a Monday. You still got the whole week ahead of you. Give yourself a little time. Yeah, no, we definitely call it that too. Um, yeah, no, it's too late for me. I'm already very thoroughly there. But, next time. No, we'll get there. Yeah, you have a good time too. Well, good time sleeping, then I hope you have a good morning. Thanks for dropping by. Ah, always good to see those Phantom Library emotes. Those are fun. Maybe I'll run into you on another one of Jack's streams. Until then, you have a good one. Let's see. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh, right. That's what I was doing. I was going to pull up a reference for the shotel and see if I can start getting the border for that done. That's the kind of thing that's kind of good for low brain days. Not that pen. Not that layer. Hmm. Yeah, that is kind of working in its own right, especially if we like really lean into shadow here. Yeah. Awesome. It's coming together. Piece by piece. Bit by bit. Agonizingly slowly, perhaps, but surely. Miquella is emerging before us. And while this is, I mean, calling it a rough sketch isn't entirely fair. I'm sure some of these lines are probably going to end up in the final thing. I'm sure what I'm going to want to do is, like, rework the hands, most likely. Even this arm I'm actually pretty happy with. I may just want to clean up the lines a little. We'll do a little bit of that if we got time. But, like, we're really, for the main piece, we're down to face and hair. Which is awesome. Ah yes, my notes. We'll come back to that when it's relevant. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and leave those on and just close that folder for the moment. We've got the reworking section. Got these notes. Oh, that one's fixed. We don't need to worry about this one anymore. Wrong layer. This also fairly well resolved. And we'll just leave that note. And of course, head and hair. Most likely a challenge for tomorrow, although not at all an insurmountable one the way it used to be. That said, what was it? I was looking for... Oh, right. There was the background layer somewhere in one of these. Oh, not that one. Okay, it's in more rework, and it's the only thing visible in more rework. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually fine with leaving both of those on for when we head out. So yeah, we'll just pop those two. Actually, just this one folder on. Oh, we can keep the head shape from this one, I suppose. Might be useful. But, before we get into any of that, and specifically before we get into the shotel for today, we're going to take ourselves a quick little break because it is, let's see, 9 o'clock where I am, which means it's just about time to get some water, use the restroom, stand up, stretch your muscles a bit, and all that jazz, and then we will come back to it in just a few. So I will leave y'all with the music, and I will see y'all in just a couple moments. Howdys and salutations, y'all! We are back. Probably not for terribly long, though, truth be told. We'll spend a little time working on this, getting some stuff fine-tuned with the shotel. I don't know if we'll get it to the end or not. But then in the name of actually getting sleep tonight, because I desperately need it, like quite badly, we'll wrap as soon as we reach a decent stopping point. Honestly, we almost wrap now, but I figure I'll go a little longer. Since we had that long pause, and I figure, you know, anyone stuck around deserves to see a little bit more stuff before the night is out. There we go. Don't need tons of detail on that particular part, and don't need tons and tons of detail on this yet. We'll eventually get the line that runs down the length of it, but not just yet. We'll hold off just a hair on that. The trick with this is that these are like shockingly wispy little flames. which makes them actually somewhat difficult to illustrate. And I've got the added pressure because I've drawn the shotel twice already to, frankly, fairly satisfactory degrees, at least for what I was going for. And so now I have to keep that energy up, while also not making the lines so faint that they don't work. That's going to take a little bit of doing. Because they lose a little bit of their elegance if you just do big old chunker lines through the whole thing. So we'll try to aim for more like this, but we'll see, really. Really haven't got much more to say on this one, other than that. We'll see what comes of this, truthfully. I want to put like a really nasty barbed one right at the end, since this part's going to be right up by the view, or, you know, possibly cut off at some point. We'll see. A little more detail on that one, because it's right up with us. And then they do get smaller and taper towards the end. We've got like this tiny noticeable one there. Some with like a little more weight to them. And if it's not obvious, I'm not trying to capture the shotel one-to-one. I do have a reference image of it open, which is proving quite useful. Mark that just a little more. Whoops. Nope, I'd like that whole line, preferably. Get rid of this little bit. There we go. Oops, not that. Let's see. A little bit of more jaggedy, craggledy stuff. But we also want to try to get that, like, sense of elegance with it, too. Which is, going to be difficult to achieve. Let's see. Although, I mean, that does honestly look a lot like it. I may just need to reinforce the lines a little bit, and then get that arc in the center, and we'll be in a fairly good place for that, actually. So close to the camera, we are going to be dealing with more detail than I would normally include. So, let's try to make sure we don't lose that detail as we darken these lines up a little bit. Otherwise, I might just use the, like, expand width tool, because, I mean, this is a vector layer. We absolutely have that option. However, it tends to, you know, blindly expand the width, which is what it's designed to do, no fault in that. But it does mean that it tends to lose some of the detail at times. Some stuff just blobs into other things. Alas, such is the way. But this will, keeping at least the silhouette bold. I'm not too worried about the interior lines. But as long as the silhouette is bold and consistent, then what that basically means for us is that it will look consistent with the rest of it and hopefully won't look too jarring when we zoom out. It might. it very much, oh really? It might. But we're gonna hope it doesn't. Just had that brief panic that I think everyone experiences while drawing digitally of, for half a second, thinking I was on the wrong layer. Nobody wants that. Granted, sometimes it's easy to fix with the cut and paste tools, so long as it doesn't overlap anything below it. But sometimes it is, in fact, not so kind. Just as unkind as some of the critters I've met in Baldur's Gate recently, which I'm sorry, my brain just keeps going to it because it's where I keep spending my time. It's the reason I'm so tired. Oops. But it's been fun. Surprisingly so, in fact. Given that, again, I was not part of the, like, the Baldur's Gate prep hype. I never played the demo. I, like, listened to some people do it in a video while I was playing a different game years ago. The, like, early access demo. I didn't even realize it was Baldur's Gate. I had no clue. No idea what the game was. No idea what it was about. My extent of my knowledge really was that I had heard of it, and I knew that it was like a turn-based RPG from a long time ago. Eventually I learned that it was D&D based, but like most of what I know about the game and like everything happened within like 2 days of me getting it. Like just right before, and 2 days of release as well. If it weren't for Galactic, I probably would have missed it entirely, wouldn't have picked it up. The Galactic suggested we ought to do that collab stream, which was a lot of fun. And yeah. It's been a blast. But it has eaten, like, a lot of time. Okay, I should get my arm at a slightly less dumb angle. See if I can draw with a little more control. Oh, I gotta get that art, gotta get that taper. There we go. And shading will probably catch the rest. Just so long as we can get these lines. So wobbly. Yeah, that's more where that line ought to be landing, actually. Let's get rid of this. It's kind of a bad guide. Hey, there we go. Let's see. Let's see, what else am I doing? The other thing that's been eating my time, and this one's dumb. I need to figure out how to put it down. Because I really love it, but I've been rereading an old book series I haven't read in a long time. And it's been so much fun, but I have to be able to put it down because I have a job, and I need to be able to do the job and not read the book. But for anyone who doesn't know it, the Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov, which is very much a sci-fi classic, fascinating read, and I haven't read it since, like, middle school, probably? It's been a long time. Certainly since before I knew squat about history. Highly recommend it if you ever want to check something out. I know they're making a new TV series on it. I haven't seen that yet, so I can't say one way or the other if it's any good. But it's not been... I reread Dune not too long ago, and that movie's come out, so that was fun. And then, Foundation, so we're hitting a lot of the old sci-fi classics. And, you know, I know that Dune especially is hardly universally beloved. And I won't deny it's got its flaws and quirks, for sure. But it's still an interesting read just to see a very funky future philosophy, and, to think about how it applies to our world, not necessarily to apply it as a template, but insights it can give to our current lives. Also, you can go super brain dead and just, like, enjoy the sci-fi romp with the cool, fairly unique setting. Well, until Star Wars stole it, but Star Wars is fun too, and it does its own take on it, so I can't be that mad. But, like, yeah, I don't know, I guess that is one interesting thing. Before we wrap up in these last few minutes, to closing thoughts on that stuff. Ow. Sorry, I caught my foot on my desk. Not like a stub toe, just like tension when I rotated my chair. But yeah, I enjoy reading sci-fi books, and, you know, lots of different genres of books, even if they've got, I don't know the word problematic themes. I don't love it when they're promoting the problematic themes, but it's interesting when they exist in the books, and it's something that you can sort of analyze and see, sure, what the author's trying to do, and how that's relevant to the current day, but also, like, many of these have been around long enough that societal ideas have changed, and so you can also kind of contrast it with current day values and see, oh, interesting, what was their world, what was the world of the writer that they're writing from? What was their perspective in that time? And it's fun. It's not fun when it's a stinking English homework assignment. I definitely get that. But when you're reading books you actually enjoy, and then you can like connect them to your own life, it's actually quite enjoyable. At least in my opinion. But I won't lecture on that anymore. After all, this is hardly a history class at this point, even if I do ramble about it a fair bit. And it's hardly a sci-fi class either, although there should be more of those. Instead, it is a lovely little opportunity to draw Miquella with all of y'all. And unfortunately for tonight, though, that opportunity is going to have to come to an end, because we are wrapping it up for today. Gotta turn in a little early, I'll get this posted, and then I'm off to bed. But don't let that get you down. We'll be right back here, same time again, streaming tomorrow. As a heads up for anyone who didn't catch the Discord announcement, no Magma stream. We won't have that co-op event today, or tomorrow. I've realized I've got work stuff that has popped up at a time where it's just not going to be super viable to prep for it. Like, I'll still be streaming, but I won't have the prep time I need to get everything ready to go and, like, sorted out for it. And, truth be told, at the moment, I really want to prioritize getting Miquella to a stopping point, because if we can get to a tangible milestone with this that is properly earned, not just, like, rushed and bad, but, like, a properly earned milestone, that would be huge. Huge and wondrous and amazing. But we're just going to have to see. We'll see if it happens. Just realized that the flames on this, the way they're spaced, also reminds me of Godzilla's tail a little bit, like a much more ragged one. Anyway, and the spines on his back. Anyway, I think that's enough. Clearly, like, my mind's gonna meander off soon pretty quick. So I will leave y'all to it, and we will catch you on the flip side. Until then, I hope y'all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever it may be. And I'll see y'all next time.